Welcome to It's Political with Pradeep Bhandari. Friends, over the past few weeks, we've been analysing different trends and trying to bring in front of you the nuances of looking at Bihar elections. Now, the phase 1 of voting has completed, and right now I am in Nalanda. Well, I'm on the way to a constituency. Now, what is extremely important is that the voting percentage this time has fallen short than the last voting percentage by roughly 3%. Now, in a COVID time, the way of looking at it is that in a COVID time, it is expected that the voting percentage will not be as significant as last time. Now, look at this, and this I've been telling a lot of viewers who have analyzed, tried to look at elections. It's just not the voting percentage which matters in election. It is about what constitutes that voting percentage. Now, in the last election, the women voting percentage was more than the men voting percentage by roughly 7%. Now, in this, the data that I'm gathering from the ground and my team is gathering from the ground tell me that the voting differential between the men and the women will not be as high as last time. So, which means that the margins in the seat or close contest seats will not be won by JDU in a landslide. Now, another point which is extremely important is that across in the phase 1, wherever BJP has been contesting, what is observed is the Brahman, Bhumiyar and the Rajput has completely consolidated in BJP's favour on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's reign. Now, another important development which we have seen is that, and a lot of analysts have been asking the question, whether this election will see the base caste of Nitish Kumar, that is the EBC, drifting away from Nitish Kumar. Well, as of now, the data tells us that the EBC, major portion of the EBC, at least in phase 1, is intact. But there might be a slight division. But that is habitual and that is normal for any election where particularly a chief minister who is suffering an anti-incumbency after 15 years. And there is significant anti-incumbency against Nitish Kumar, which you cannot deny and which you will see happening on the ground. But the moot question is, and in fact another trend which is a very micro trend which has to be observed, a lot of seats where the JDU has given ticket to candidates who are not popular. On those seats where the Muslim and the Yadav percentage is more than the 30-35%, that is where the lower caste, that is the Paswans, the Mahadalits, Paswans and the Mahadalits have drifted away from the JDU camp, away from the NDA camp towards the Mahagathbandhan camp. That is not the drift of the EBC, mind you. I'm saying it might be the drift of the Mahadalits. So that is a trend which we have seen in phase 1, particularly at seats where the JDU has not fielded a very strong candidate or there is a tripolar contest. Let me give you an example of a seat called as Badi Baga. Now that is a seat where the JDU has given ticket to a candidate who had erstwhile fought from the Congress party. Now there you will have a tripolar contest where LJP has given ticket to a local popular candidate. You have the JDU which has given ticket to a turncoat from Congress, and definitely you have the Congress. Now the Congress has got the support of the Gathbandhan, the base voter, which is the Yadav voter. Now here the question is, where are the Paswan voters moving to? And the Paswan voters have not inclined towards making JDU their first preference, at least what the trend we are getting from phase 1. So if you see, this is where some of the seats in phase 1 which had erstwhile in the last election gone easily to the JDU will have some difficulty. Now the women are again majorly aligning with Nitish Kumar, and this is what has been seen. But the enthusiasm in the Yadav and the Muslim voter is comparatively higher than the enthusiasm factor in the EBC voter. But that does not mean that the EBC voter has not come to the voting booth and has not casted its vote. Definitely it has done it. But the enthusiasm factor difference is there. Now another thing which is there is the main core on which the women have decided to give their vote has not been any big nationalist promise or a big nationalist narrative. No, the women are more concerned about who is bringing them tangible welfare benefits in their life. And I said this during the time of Lok Sabha, and I reiterate this. This is a trend which I am seeing at the time of Bihar election. One thing which I was expecting in phase 1 was a large section of the youth coming out to vote, but I see that a moderate fraction of youth has come out to vote in phase 1, and that was the core voter of the RJD. So seats what the in-all conclusion is that there are a lot of layers to analyze phase 1. It is not a wave election as people have been saying, and this is why I say that Bihar Assembly election 2020, the analysis of it becomes extremely critical and extremely important. And the way phase 1 result will come out, and that will have an impact on phase 2. And by phase 2, you will know which way the wind is blowing to. But overall, what we see is that the seats where the BJP versus Congress is going ahead, the BJP is quite strong. Seats where the JDU versus RJD is going there, and the M by more than 35. RJD is giving a quite a good fight, in fact leading at a lot of places, and places where the RJD versus BJP is going on. At that time you are seeing a lot of mass consolidation taking place, and that is where the other caste, that is the OBCs and the EBCs along with the Mahadalits are playing a role, because the base caste of the BJP's support and the base caste of the RJD's support is completely intact. That is an example. I will give you a constituency called as Bihar. In that constituency, the Yadavs are completely aligning with the Gathbandhan candidate, whereas you will see the Bhumiyars aligning with the NDA candidate, and this is where the other caste becomes extremely important. But because the Bhumiyars are in more quantity than the other caste, than the Yadavs, so the NDA somehow tries to get an initial edge. So these are factors which are at place, but the moot point is that you should not overreach the voting percentage. In a COVID time, a 3% differential is substantial, is expected, but the women and the men voting differential will not be as it was the last time, which was 7%. So this is why you will see a less than 7% differential in the women and the men voting percentage. So that is me, Pradeep Bhandari, from ground zero. I have been travelling across 8,000 panchayats, 243 constituencies and 38 districts in Bihar. Tune into the exit poll on 7th of November, and thank you so much. Till the time, wait for the next episode.